It is the Stephanie Miller Show, and Eric Boehlert has cheated on me with Joy Reid every weekend, and I love it. I get a little thrill up my leg when I see you on Joy. You're so great on this show, Eric.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
I actually was this tweet just came in. Breaking news: Oprah Winfrey is actively thinking about running for president in 2020, according to two close friends of hers. You had tweeted, "I'm losing patience with political journalists jumping in tonight about how Oprah shouldn't run." Folks, this is not the knee-jerk discussion people have to powerful men. It is interesting, right?
It is, and look, I think Trump has opened the door to other possibilities of people other than senators running or becoming president. I mean, that's pretty obvious. And who knows how any of this is going to flesh out. And she certainly was wildly inspirational and articulate and thoughtful and all those wonderful things last night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, she spoke for 9 minutes, and Trump can't speak for a sentence. So, you know, I'm of the opinion that the more the merrier, and everyone who's got an idea should be welcomed and embraced. But I was seeing a lot on Twitter, hey, you know, she was great, but I don't, you know, celebrities should stay out of politics and things like this.
Yeah, did Sean Spicer actually said she couldn't run because she has no political experience.
If it's 2018 and you think and you view Oprah Winfrey as a quote celebrity, you're kind of missing what's going on.
Yeah.
She's obviously much more than a celebrity. She's one of the most powerful businesswomen in the country. And again, I'm not raising the Oprah for President banner, but I do think if this was a prominent male actor or a prominent Hollywood voice, people would not be rushing in saying, hey.
Yeah. Well, I think you pointed out.
I think it's the thing that happens with women. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, I think you pointed out, how come Mitt Romney, absolutely should run for Orrin Hatch's seat.
Oh my God!
But Hillary needs to shut up and go away, right?
That just killed me, and no one said boo about it. I mean, it's so commonplace now. People didn't even think twice. I mean, Mitt Romney served governor in Massachusetts, ran for president, lost. And now may serve for a senator from a state halfway across the. If Hillary announced or her people let it be known that she wants to move to Minnesota and run for senator next year, what do you think the media reaction would be? I mean, it would be apocalyptic. But of course, Mitt Romney should run for senator. He's just, that's just what smart, savvy men do. He's not ambitious. He's not being calculating. He didn't push Orrin Hatch out of office so he could waltz to this, what looks like would be a waltz to a seat in Utah. So it just drives me crazy, and it's to the point where people don't even notice. Hillary Clinton had the audacity to write a book about her historic campaign experience, and she was pummeled for weeks that she should just shut up and go away. And I haven't seen one go away column about Mitt Romney since it became obvious he's probably going to run for senator.
Yeah.
Like, come on, people.
You just tweeted Bob Corker apparently is now catching a ride with Trump on Air Force One. You said Bob Corker grabbing deck seats on the Titanic. What? I mean, this is the thing is what is going on with this whole party, Eric? Because we've been talking about Lindsey Graham. I mean, what is going on?
I think that's. Look, I mean, there's so many $64,000 questions, but, as Chris Hayes was just tweeting, as the White House becomes more chaotic and dysfunctional, the Republican Party becomes more loyal. I mean, they see the numbers for 218. I mean, yes, it's a generic ballot, but if we look, these polls over the years are a pretty good indicator of what's going to happen in November, particularly for midterms.
Right.
18-point deficit. Last time the Democrats had a 10-point, or Republicans had a 10-point deficit, and they lost like 35 seats. They're at 18 points right now. This is the most unpopular first-term president in American history. I mean, everyone is just looking at this and thinking, what is going on? So of course I see more and more people tweeting, what does the White House have on Corker? What does Russia have on Corker? What does Russia have on Nunes? What does Russia have on the entire House leadership that is now just absolutely waging war on the FBI?
Right.
It's bizarre, and it might end up being the biggest story in American history. We just
Yes.
don't know at this point.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
how else do you explain this?
Well, no, absolutely. I know that there's been all sorts of speculation, but I mean, we have a party that is actively trying to obstruct the Russia investigation and almost serve as Trump's defense counsel, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're beyond I think initially when these Russia investigations were set up, the idea was, yeah, Republicans are going to run interference for Trump. They're going to try to spin this stuff. They're going to try to do a kind of a whitewash investigation. We are now at the point where a year into this investigation, in 9 or 10 months, Republicans have decided they have a criminal referral. They found someone who may have broken the law. Oh, by the way, it was the British spy who dug up the dirt on Trump and Russia. I mean, at the end of the last week, Republican senators were demanding that the Department of Justice prosecute Christopher Steele, who wrote the dossier. I mean,
yeah,
we're stunned all the time, but this is so far beyond, hey, let's run interference because our guy's in the White House. This is just an absolute, open warfare on the FBI and on law enforcement from the Republican Party. It's like we're through the looking glass. I mean, we've been through it for a long time, but we just add new dimensions every week.
And obviously the Michael Wolff book, Michael Wolff on Meet the Press yesterday. Take a listen.
I mean, it's an extraordinary moment in time, and the last several days focused on my book, I think, are proof of this. This is what happened here. What's going on here? This is, I think, not an exaggeration and not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable to say this is 25th Amendment kind of stuff.
And that they talked about it all the time at the White House, right?
Yeah.
And that 100% of the people he talked to knew that Trump wasn't fit.
Yeah, no, I mentioned that yesterday on Joy's show. I mean, there's so many amazing quotes and revelations and anecdotes, and this is why the White House is freaking out, because it's all inside the White House. It's not you or me writing a book saying, "Gee, Trump isn't qualified." We all know that.
And he has tapes. Michael Wolff has tapes.
Yeah. Nobody has denied any of these quotes. I mean, Steve Bannon didn't deny a single thing he said. He's now groveling because he's saying, "Oh, I meant Manafort when I was talking about treason. It's not not Don Jr." But yeah, one of the amazing revelations was the idea that everyone at the White House thinks Trump is unqualified. So I think I was happy with the Jake Tapper interview yesterday with Stephen Miller on CNN that kind of blew up, and Tapper just said, I'm not, we've wasted enough time on you, which I think is being kind. So I'm glad we saw that, and I absolutely think the Wolff book has changed the mindset. He pulled back the curtain, and he said to everyone, including the D.C. media, we got to stop kidding around. If we saw lots of journalists on Twitter and on TV saying, yeah, that Wolff book kind of confirms what we knew. Well, if you knew it, why weren't you writing it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wolff presented a depiction of the Trump White House that we did not see in 2017, via the Washington Post or CBS, the New York Times, or whatever. And so I hope that the Tapper interview was an indication that there's going to be an awakening. I think people should have been treating Stephen Miller like that since basically last April.
Yeah,
the guy is insane. He's disgusting. He is, Roy Cohn Jr. I mean, the fact that he was ever taken seriously is kind of a besmirch for the press. But hopefully we're going to see a bit of a awakening, and I think Wolff's book, look, I follow Michael Wolff over the years. I would say, before this book, I would have said 70% of the stuff is good. You got to watch the 30%. I mean, he's not, I'm not saying he's above reproach. He may have gotten some stuff wrong in that book, but he was sitting on that couch in the West Wing for months interviewing these people, and he has presented a portrait that we have not seen. I mean, my God,
and that's the only reason he got access is because of who he was, right? I mean, they thought it was going to be a friendly story, right? His Trump's own ego is what allowed this, right?
That's right. And compare his book to that lapdog interview the New York Times gave Trump right around New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. A 30-minute interview, not one pointed question about the guy. They treated him like he was a normal president. They're asking him about the infrastructure bill. Tell us about tax cuts. Like he knows anything about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But for most of last year, the Times, desperately tried to treat him as a normal president who's kind of eccentric. Oh, he's an outsider, or he does things differently. And I hope the Wolf book, we will see an end to that, and it'll be a much more transparent coverage. Who knows?
Yep.
This all might just evaporate in a week.
Here was my favorite moment yesterday, Meet the Press. Take a listen, Michael Wolff.
If I left out anything, it's probably stuff that was even more damning.
It's that bad.
It's that bad.
I just love that. Did you leave anything out that was maybe exculpatory? No, it was even worse what I left out.
But, again, the reason this book is so devastating, it's funny, this White House is so incompetent. They didn't even know the book was going to be out last week. It took them 4 days to kind of summon a defense yesterday on the talk shows, which was a disaster. But, I mean, the reason it's so damning, you've got Steve Bannon talking about the Russian meetings with the Trump campaign being treasonous, being unpatriotic.
Yeah.
He is confirming every talking point from the DNC and from you and me and from everybody. And as I noted yesterday, he obliterated about 400 hours of Fox News programming. That is what they revolve around, is that there is no Russia conclusion. Let's take a step back, because again, we this stuff is so crazy. This would be like David Axelrod announcing in 2010 that the Obama campaign had been treasonous and they're all a bunch of crooks. He's his chief strategist from inside the White House. He ran Trump's campaign, and he's calling them treasonous. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so devastating for them.
Yeah, well, as you and I say, now a warning that he's unstable and unfit?
I know.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Eric, great stuff. So much to talk about. We will see you again next week.
Okay, have a great one.
All right, thank you.